Hi, everybody, from Scottsdale Stadium. Andrew Baggerly here with Jeff Fletcher of AOLFanhouse.com. He's my guest today on the Giants Rundown for Thursday, February 24th, 2011. And the Giants have their Cactus League opener tomorrow against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Joe Saunders pitching for Arizona. Tim Lincecum pitching for the Giants. And tell us about that Giants lineup tomorrow, Fletch.
Well, let's see. Aubrey Huff is not playing because he's got a sore wrist, but it's really not that sore. It's just a spring training game, and somebody's got to not play. But he's going to play Saturday, so it's no big deal. But Andres Torres is going to be the DH, which is a little interesting instead of playing center field, and that's kind of an interesting deal. And Tejada's going to play. Pablo's going to play third.
The big one,
Sanchez is still not playing.
Yeah, Freddie Sanchez not ready. The big one for me is Pat Burrell. He's going to be starting in left field, so that's kind of a clue as to who the incumbent's going to be in this left field battle. Bochy did say that Bruce Bochy said the lineup's going to be fairly close to the group he plans to send out there on opening day at Dodger Stadium on March 31st. Now, Freddie Sanchez not cleared to swing at live pitching yet. That'll probably happen as early as Saturday. So Mark DeRosa, the second baseman. And Huff, not really a big deal. These guys ice half their bodies during the season, and he's just got a little wrist now. And like Fletch was saying, you got to play 4 regulars every day. They don't want these guys going back-to-back so early, so you need to save a couple guys for for Saturday's game. So Travis Ishikawa probably at first base. And interesting that Andres Torres will be DHing. Both teams, National League teams, but agreed to use the DH for this game. And Torres will DH, and Aaron Rowan will be in center. And it's pretty clear that Bruce Bochy wants to pay a lot of respect to Aaron Rowan for being a good teammate and really taking a back seat last year. And probably told him privately, I can only imagine, that we'll give you a shot to win the job back this spring.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, too, because you're not going to, Andres Torres still has to prove a lot that he can do what he did over a whole year. And I would not be betting my house that Andres Torres is going to start 150 games in center field and he's going to be the guy. So you want to make sure you've got some options.
At the same time, he had such a great year that, Bruce Bochy has said, we got to have him in our lineup. It's just important that he's in our lineup. But, they have to do right by Aaron Rowan. Bruce Bochy feels that that's starting him in center and putting Torres at DH to start. And those guys are both going to play plenty this spring. On the pitching side, the news today was that first on KNBR, Brian Sabian this morning broke news about the rotation alignment. We all knew who the 5 were. We knew that the day they won the World Series. But tell us about the way they're going to line them up, Fletch.
Well, let's see. They're going Lincecum, Sanchez number 2, Kane number 3, Zito number 4, Bumgarner number 5, which is not exactly the order you'd go and who's your best pitcher, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there are some interesting reasons for doing that. There's a righty-lefty thing, and a point that Henry brought up that Bochy kind of poo-pooed was the fact that your 2 most durable guys, Lincecum and Kane, if you have them go back-to-back, then you possibly might have some bullpen issues with the other 3 guys pitching 3 days in a row, which I think is the most logical reason for doing it that way.
And that, in fact, is something Brian Sabian mentioned this morning, too, on the Murph and Max show, is that we know Sanchez led the NL in walks last year. He's not a guy who always pitches very efficiently, and so if you need to call in that bullpen for 4 innings or more, they might have a better chance of being rested with Lincecum on one side and then a chance to rest up with Kane on the other side. And a couple things that lines those guys up for. Sanchez would pitch the home opener on April 8th, which would be a big day, the first day in 50-plus years that they can raise a World Series banner in San Francisco. And then Matt Cain would get the ball for the night opener the next day, which is when the guys get their rings, and that seems appropriate. So, it seems like things are lining up, and now it's just a matter of keeping everybody healthy, which is always a big challenge in spring training.
Yeah, basically all this is just exercise for the guys. You want to try to get out of here, have the pitchers get their arm strength, and have nobody get hurt. Otherwise, nothing that really happens between the lines matters at all. It's just, to sell tickets and have something for us to do.
And we did have some action between the lines, actually, a 3-inning intra-squad game, the Baseball America Classic, as we call it here. All the prospects took part. You can tell the infield was pretty hard. The guy's timing wasn't very good. It was a little sloppy out there. Brandon Crawford actually made 2 errors on 1 play, but was only charged with 1. He kicked a ground ball and then threw wildly to first base. Saw Francisco Peguero misplay a single into a double. Gary Brown, the first-round pick, broke a little late on a blooper. But Brown also drew a leadoff walk to start the game and stole second base. That was exciting to watch. Dan Runzler worked out of that jam. And Jason Stoffel, the former University of Arizona closer, gave up 5 hits in his inning. That ended up being accounting for all 3 runs as Team B beat Team A. And they really got to come up with better team names than Team B and Team A. But anyway, Mark Prune is probably the guy who looked the best. He struck out 2 of the free batters he faced. So that's pretty much it. Fletch has got to go do Chronicle Live, so check him out on that in a little bit. And thanks for joining us, Fletch, and we'll check back with you tomorrow with all the details on the Cactus League opener. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.